Deep in the heart of the jungle, far away from the noise of the world, stands a small bamboo hut. Inside, a strange and beautiful harmony exists. A young woman and a powerful gorilla share their days together, bound not by words, but by trust. In the soft morning light, she leans against him, her smile gentle, her laughter light. His massive arms, though capable of crushing strength, hold her carefully, as though she were the most fragile thing in existence. The walls of the hut echo not with fear or loneliness, but with the quiet rhythm of two lives that have somehow intertwined. When they step outside, the air is alive with the sounds of the jungle. Birds cry from the treetops, insects hum in the warm air, and the river glitters under the sun. She walks barefoot on the damp earth, while he follows beside her, every step shaking the ground. And yet, despite his size, there is no threat in his presence, only protection. At the riverbank, she splashes the water with her hands, laughing as droplets sparkle in the air. The gorilla lowers himself to the edge, watching her closely, his deep, dark eyes softened by something more than instinct. For a moment, the jungle itself seems to pause, as if even nature respects this bond between human and beast. They move together with ease, like old friends. She weaves flowers into a small crown and gently places it on his head, giggling at the sight. He doesn't resist, only grunts softly, as if amused by her playfulness. Then, with a sudden burst of energy, she runs into the shallow water, and he follows, splashing beside her, the river exploding with waves around them. Here, in this secret corner of the world, they are simply happy. They do not think of danger or tomorrow or what others might say. For them, there is only this moment: sunlight, water, and laughter echoing through the jungle. But happiness in the jungle is always fragile, and peace never lasts for long. One afternoon, curiosity pulls her deeper into the forest. The gorilla lingers behind, busy with his own tasks, while she wanders between the towering trees, brushing her fingers across the vines and listening to the whisper of leaves. For a moment, she feels fearless, as though the jungle has accepted her as its own. And then, silence. The birds stop singing. The air grows heavy. From the shadows steps a lion, its golden eyes locked on her every movement. Muscles ripple beneath its skin, each slow step deliberate, predatory. Her breath catches in her throat. She knows, in this world, she is no predator. She is prey. She stumbles back, her heart pounding, when suddenly a roar shakes the forest. The gorilla bursts through the undergrowth, his massive body slamming against the earth, his voice echoing like thunder. The lion hesitates, then, with a snarl, it disappears into the trees, leaving only the trembling silence of the jungle behind. Relief washes over her, but it lasts only moments. The sky above begins to darken, clouds boiling and twisting together. The wind rises, carrying the scent of rain and something far more dangerous. Lightning cracks across the horizon, illuminating the bamboo hut in the distance. She turns to run, and the gorilla is already beside her, his hand reaching out to guide her through the storm. The heavens open. Rain lashes down in sheets, soaking her clothes, blinding her eyes. She slips in the mud, but he steadies her, his massive frame shielding her from the fury of the storm. Together, they push through the chaos, the lightning flashing around them, the roar of thunder drowning out her cries, until at last they reach the safety of their hut. Inside, dripping and trembling, she curls against him, her fragile body shaking from the cold and the fear. He wraps his arm around her shoulders, pulling her close, his warmth steady against the storm raging outside.
In the fragile glow of that moment, she realizes, no matter what the jungle throws at her, she is not alone. The morning calm shatters with a hiss. From the tree line, the serpent emerges, pale scales glistening, its body sliding like a river of muscle and hunger. She gasps, stepping back, but there is nowhere to run. The snake strikes, faster than thought, its coils whipping around her fragile frame. She struggles, clawing at the crushing grip, her breath ripped away. Her scream is muffled by the forest silence. For a moment, it feels final, an end written in scales and shadow. Then the ground shakes. The gorilla charges, fists pounding against the serpent's body. His roar fills the clearing, echoing like thunder. The beast thrashes, refusing to release its prey, but he does not stop. Each strike is heavier than the last, until the coils finally loosen and she falls free, gasping for air. The serpent turns, hissing, ready to strike again. But he meets it head-on, a titan against the monster. The battle is brutal. Coils wrap around him, bones creak under the crushing force, yet his strength does not falter. With a furious roar, he tears himself free, slamming the serpent to the ground. Again and again his fists crash down, until the jungle falls silent. The serpent lies still. Its pale eyes, once filled with hunger, fade into emptiness. She stares, trembling, unable to believe she is alive. Slowly, she rises, her gaze meeting his. In his dark eyes, she sees no pride, no triumph, only calm, and the unspoken truth. He fought not for survival alone, but for her. Later, by the riverbank, they share food and silence. She laughs softly, the sound shaky, but real. For the first time, joy and safety return, fragile but alive. As the sun sets and the jungle glows with golden light, they walk side by side, two unlikely souls, bound by something stronger than fear. Their story is not over.
7.8 million years ago. The African plains stretched endlessly beneath a burning sun, and here, among the predators and scavengers, lived creatures unlike any others. They looked like apes, but something about them was already changing. They were curious, restless, always watching. They were at the very beginning of a journey that would, one day, shape all of human history. Life was a constant struggle. Every single day meant searching for food, for water, for safety. Danger was everywhere. Eagles circled high, ready to snatch the young, and vultures, patient and silent, waited for death to claim another victim so they could feast. Survival here was a fragile balance. For these early beings, food was scarce, and every find could mean the difference between life and death. Sometimes the reward was small, a handful of berries, a root dug from the ground, or a bird's nest filled with eggs. To us it might seem insignificant, but for them it was a treasure, a chance to live another day. Imagine the relief, the quiet joy, when an egg cracked open in their hands, when hunger was kept away just a little longer, yet hunger was never far. And so slowly they began to notice things others ignored. A stick lying on the ground was more than just a stick. It could reach where hands could not. It could knock fruit from a branch. It could push back a threat. It could strike harder than a fist. Simple, yes, but revolutionary. In those moments, a new path opened, the path of tools. In their groups, something else began to emerge. They rested together in circles. They huddled for warmth. They shared whatever food they found. Alone, they were vulnerable. But together, they stood a chance. This was more than instinct. This was the earliest spark of community, the first lesson that survival is stronger when shared. Still, The world around them never let them forget how fragile life was. The ground was littered with bones, silent reminders of all those who had failed. Above, vultures circled endlessly, ready to clean up what was left behind. For these creatures, the message was clear. Those who cannot hunt, those who cannot fight, will not last. And then, one day, something changed. They spotted an antelope, a living, breathing animal, not carrion, not scraps left behind by stronger predators. Real prey, and instead of running, they gave chase. Imagine the scene. The pounding of hooves shaking the earth, dust rising into the air, cries echoing across the plain. They ran not from fear this time, but toward it. Their legs drove them forward, sticks clenched in their hands, hearts racing with something new, determination. For the first time, they were not simply surviving. They were hunting. The antelope fought to escape, its muscles straining, breath heaving, eyes wide with panic. But the group pressed on. Their numbers, their persistence, their makeshift weapons. It was enough. Slowly, they wore the animal down, and then, with a final effort, the antelope collapsed. It was theirs. For the first time, food had not been stolen, not scavenged, not begged from nature's scraps. It had been taken. They gathered around the fallen animal, touching it, pulling at it, tasting it. Each one took a piece, tearing the flesh with their teeth. Blood smeared their hands and faces, but it was more than just a meal. It was proof. Proof that together they could conquer. Proof that they were no longer only prey. And yet something even greater awaited them. Their next discovery would be far more powerful than the hunt, more transformative than any victory. They would encounter fire. Flames roared and crackled, heat seared their skin, and the blaze seemed alive, uncontrollable. They kept their distance, wary of its power. But then, curiosity took hold. Someone stepped closer. A branch was pulled from the flames. The fire didn't vanish. It could be carried. It could be kept alive. Slowly, they learned that fire was not just danger. It was protection, and it was possibility. Meat, placed into the flames, changed. It softened. It smelled rich. It tasted better. It gave more strength, more energy, more life. This small accident would alter everything. Their bodies would grow stronger, their brains, fed by richer food, would grow sharper. The night, once filled with terror, was transformed. Around the fire, they sat close together, watching the shadows dance. Predators kept their distance, eyes glowing faintly in the dark, but no longer daring to attack. For the first time, the group was safe after the sun went down. The fire was theirs, and with it, they had tamed a piece of nature itself. Dawn came. Slowly they woke, stretching, yawning, looking around. Another day had begun, another day of searching for food, for survival. And yet something had changed. Each sunrise brought with it new possibilities. They were no longer simply reacting to the world. They were beginning to shape it. Their eyes grew sharper, their hands more skilled. They began to notice that broken stones could cut better than teeth, that sharp edges could slice through skin and muscle. Some began striking stones together, splitting them apart, finding blades hidden inside the rock. It was clumsy, it was simple, but it was the beginning of invention. Step by step, moment by moment, they were becoming something new. No longer just creatures of instinct, no longer just victims of chance. They were taking control. And this was only the beginning. From the first egg stolen from a nest, to the first stick used as a tool, to the first hunt the first fire, the first stone blade. Each moment pushed them further along a path they could not yet see. A path that would lead, in time, to villages, to cities, to civilizations, to ships that crossed oceans, to machines that reached the skies, to footsteps on the moon. 7.8 million years ago, none of that was imaginable. And yet, it all began here, with creatures who looked like apes, who feared the dark, who fought for scraps. Creatures who one day, slowly, became us. Night by the ocean. The waves crash endlessly against the shore. The sound should bring peace, but tonight it feels heavy, almost threatening, as if the world itself is holding its breath. A small hut stands on the beach. Inside, the fire burns quietly. Its flickering light reveals two figures, a young woman and a gorilla. Two beings, side by side, yet separated by a gulf of fear and silence. She raises her head slowly. Raindrops and sweat glisten on her face. Her eyes are wide, filled with unease, as if she still cannot believe this is real. She does not belong here, and she knows it. Her hands clutch her chest, as though to protect herself from something she cannot control. Her shoulders tremble. Her breathing is shallow. Behind her is the endless night. In front of her, the beast. There is no escape. The fire cracks, shadows dance along the walls. The gorilla sits across from her, unmoving, watching. His eyes do not leave her, not for a moment. He says nothing, but the silence itself terrifies her more than any roar. She takes a step back, searching for ground beneath her feet. Her fingers press into the sand, desperate for something solid. And suddenly his hand is there. Huge, heavy, powerful, so close to her own. The difference between them is unbearable. She jerks her hand away. She rises abruptly and stumbles outside. In her hands she grips a palm leaf, clutching it like a shield, as if this fragile thing could protect her. Her eyes dart in every direction. Every sound of the night makes her flinch. Then she looks up and freezes. He is there, a massive shadow standing right beside her, blocking out part of the sky. Her chest tightens. She inhales sharply, but the breath never leaves her lungs. Their eyes meet. She steps back, but his gaze follows, unrelenting. There is no anger there, but no warmth either. Only silence. Cold and unreadable. A silence that terrifies her even more. Her strength falters. Her legs give way and she falls to her knees. Her hands press into the ground. She can barely breathe. Her hair falls across her face, and in her wide, panicked eyes, one truth echoes. There is no way out. She lifts her head. His figure towers above her, vast against the firelight. Her body stiffens, every muscle screams to run, yet she cannot move. She knows her life now hangs by a thread. Her hand trembles as she reaches out, brushing against his fur. The warmth of his body shocks her. The fear surges, stronger than before. Why did she do that? Why get so close? Even she cannot explain. He shifts suddenly. His massive arm rises. Her heart lurches violently. She stumbles back, panic written across her face. To her, this gesture is not neutral. It is threat. She thinks, this is it. It ends now. Her knees buckle. She crashes to the ground, gasping for air. Her palms dig into the earth. The pounding in her chest is deafening, her head filled with a rushing roar. She realizes her life rests entirely in his hands. One single move, and she will not survive. Later, she curls up on the floor of the hut. Her body is small, fragile, folded into itself. Her shoulders shiver. Every breath of the beast nearby weighs on her like a shadow. Even in stillness, he dominates the night. She closes her eyes, but sleep does not come. Each time she drifts, fear drags her awake again. Every crackle of the fire, every sigh of his breath, feels like a warning. She cannot let her guard down, not even for a second. She slips outside, drawn to the doorway. The ocean stretches endlessly before her. Waves crash, stars shimmer in the distance. But instead of beauty, she feels emptiness. The world is vast, and she is completely alone. She turns her head back. Inside the hut, his dark silhouette looms. He does not move, yet his presence is heavy, suffocating. She knows. She is not free. She is trapped. Her back presses against the wooden wall. Tears streak her face, though she no longer tries to hide them. Inside, the same question repeats again and again. Why me? Why here? Heavy footsteps break the silence. He comes outside. She freezes, eyes snapping open. Their gazes meet. Her heart skips a beat. Is he here by chance? Or has he been watching her all along? He stands close, massive, silent. His shadow swallows hers. She tries to smile, a weak, broken thing. A smile not born of joy but of defense, a fragile mask to hide the fear tearing her apart inside. But tears come anyway, hot, unstoppable. Her hand rises to cover her face. A laugh bursts out of her chest, sharp, bitter, almost hysterical. A laugh that fractures instantly into sobs. Her body shakes. She cannot control it anymore. The gorilla watches, motionless, his dark eyes fixed on her. She feels his breath brush her skin, heavy and warm. She hears the weight of his silence, pressing on her like the night itself. And she wonders, does he understand? Does he see her breaking? Or is he only waiting for the moment to strike? Time slows. The fire flickers, its light painting their faces. Two figures locked in a silence that says more than words ever could. The night drags on. They remain there, side by side, though an ocean of fear separates them. She, small, fragile, trembling, a prisoner of her own terror. He, vast, unreadable, alien, impossible to predict. Above them the stars burn bright, cold, eternal. The waves crash endlessly, indifferent to what happens here on the shore. And inside the hut, around the fire, there is only silence. Heavy, suffocating, endless. This is not the end of her story. It is only the beginning of her trial, and perhaps the beginning of something we cannot yet understand. If this story gripped you, if you want to know what happens next, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us tell more stories like this one.